What's up guys, Drew here. Welcome back to Starting Out Solitary. It's week 224 and this week we are talking about magical circles. So like casting circle when doing our workings or what have you. So when I first actively started practicing witchcraft in 2007, I always cast circle. Always, no matter what. For me, it was a boundary. It was this protective bubble around me and whatever I was doing. So it didn't matter where I was, who I was with, what I was doing, I casted circle. Also, in part because that's what you do. That's what everybody says. The books, the witches I knew, everybody said you cast a circle. So that's what I did. And for me personally, particularly during ritual, circle always did feel very sacred and the energy was beautiful and powerful and palpable. And I really loved that. And I still feel that way today, only in 2012, when we moved into this house, my relationship with circle changed drastically. My home and my whole property is sacred. It's sacred, protected space. There's so much going on around the property. So many grids and just stuff everywhere that my home is absolutely protected and sacred. So I didn't need that any longer. And casting circle became something that I did for ritual only, unless I was out and about somewhere else. But anytime I did spellcraft, I just did it because my whole environment was sacred, safe space for workings. However, that has changed. My relationship with circle has once again morphed and shifted into something else. Early in the spring, I was sitting in my yard and I was just contemplating things and letting thoughts run through my mind. And I started to think about potential. And suddenly this stream of thought just poured right through me and I had to run in the house and write it all down. And in an instant, my relationship with the magic circle changed. And it may change again, but this is where I'm at right now. I no longer do any working without casting circle. And it has nothing to do with protection. Let me say this first. There are tons of reasons why people want to cast circle when doing their workings. What I've mentioned thus far, there's also, this idea that the circle sort of contains energy and magic. So for instance, if I had a working and I put a small, tight little circle around it, I think of it like a coal being turned to diamond. The pressure and the intensity of the energy in that bubble is really tight. Whereas if it were a wider circle, it would sort of dissipate a bit. And like I said, I'm sure there are dozens of other reasons why people cast circle. But for me, casting circle and creating this space has become an essential part of shifting and manipulating energy. So I'm going to talk about energy for a minute because that way you'll understand maybe my logic in this, okay? For instance, let's compare energy to love. I love my children. I love my husband. I love my friends, but I love them all in different ways. There's a different signature to that love. It feels different. It's expressed differently, what have you. This is true of energy as well. So if you think about a crystal, I'm looking because I know I have these things laying around, but a crystal or a feather, they're very different energetically and what they can do, magically speaking, but also just the vibration, the energy that they carry is very different. It's expressed differently, it's felt differently and understood differently. And this for me is because energy has a vibration, it has a signature, and their signatures are different. And they may or may not be harmonious, but they're definitely different. So for me, when we talk about manifestation and spell work, we're actually talking about the same thing. We're just saying it differently. Manifestation is basically just creating with intent. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's basically what we're doing. And that's what we're doing with spellcraft too. It's just we're taking extra steps. In order to do either of these things, we need to come into vibrational alignment with what it is we are trying to create, to manifest, to bring into our lives. This isn't always as easily done as it is said. This world is a very difficult place to navigate, and a lot of things happen that are unfortunate. So let me give the example I like to use, and that is financial hardship. Let's pretend that I am in dire straits financially. It's really bad. It's really hard to get out of that space when you've got bills to pay and mouths to feed and, you know, whatever. And to just be in a better vibrational, be vibrationally in alignment with prosperity. It's just really difficult to do that. So of course, this is where spellcraft comes in very handy, because we are pulling and grabbing things that are in vibrational alignment with prosperity and working with them to help us, right? So this is where the circle comes in. When I cast circle and I take these elements that are in alignment with prosperity, I can be outside of my mundane reality, even if it's just for a moment, and bring myself fully in alignment with prosperity in that moment. And then I can release and I can go back to my regular life and do what I have to do, and unfortunately be in alignment with poverty or, you know, hardship or whatever. But at least in that moment, I was able to get in alignment with what it is I am calling and what it is I want and what it is I need. You know, with manifestation, you basically just have to live as if it happened. And we kind of do that with our spellcraft too. In that moment when we're there, okay, it's done and I'm walking away and I'm just going to live my life and I'm not going to worry about that anymore. They're not exactly the same, because with pure manifestation, it wouldn't be, okay, I've done what I need to do and I'm going to go back and no, you have to stay in that place. It's a little bit more difficult to walk through everyday life in that place. But at least when doing spellcraft in circle, even if it's just for a moment, I can get in that space. To me, it is vital for the success of my spell work. From my perspective, give the example of working this prosperity spell outside of sacred space, not creating this sacred space outside space and time that isn't touching the mundane. It's a separate thing. And let's pretend that I'm just going to do the working in the mundane. So here I am in my vibration of, oh gosh, everything has hit the fan and I don't have the money to do what I need to do, and I'm scared and I'm nervous and whatever. And that's the environment of me and probably everyone around me, close to me, the energy that's in the home at that point or wherever. You know, it follows me, it's with me. And so essentially my current experience and the experience I want to create are at odds. They are not in alignment at all. And so if I just start throwing around spell components and stuff, the components are in alignment with what I want, but I'm still not. I'm not in that space. And for me, when we create this bubble of sacred space, we're taking ourselves out of our mundane reality and placing ourselves fully in the stream of potentials. Anything can happen. And so working with these elements that are in alignment with what we want to bring in and just not being in that space, allowing for the possibility, opening up to what it is we wish to receive, trying to be in alignment even for just a moment with what it is we wish, is exceedingly important. Can be of nothing but benefit in this situation. So for me, it doesn't matter how many green candles I burn, how much mint, cinnamon, or tonka bean I put in my spell bottle. If I am not able to create an energetic space that is conducive to prosperity, it's all for naught. Our intent is colored by our emotional state and our mental state. It absolutely is. And if doubt can creep in at all, well, we all know that that's where spells go to die. So again, doing everything I can to create this space that is separate from and that is limitless in potential, and that I can be whatever it is. And again, I don't have to walk around like that all day. It's just for that moment while I'm in circle. It's a very powerful thing. And it absolutely is 100% part of my practice now. And I don't do any workings without casting circle anymore, ever. This, of course, is just my experience and my understanding and my reality when it comes to magic circles. If it's helpful to you, then I'm happy. And if it's BS to you, that's fine too. Like, it's all good. I don't need it to be true for anybody else. But if anyone watching can get anything out of it, then that makes it all worthwhile that I shared. So thank you so much for watching. And until next time, much love and gratitude.